Welcome to Southern Cooking Made Simple, y'all. Today, I cooked up a delicious garden dinner from my ancestors to your table. These are just simple recipes that come from the South, easy to understand, um, very simple techniques. A little bit of flour, a little bit of meal here and there, and you're going to have dinner on the table in no time flat. I started out with boiling a little bit of water, and I put some clean green beans in there with a little bit of salt pork and some onion and salt and pepper. And I brought those up to a boil and let those boil for about an hour and a half. And in the meantime, I brought some corn on the cob, clean, broke it in half, and put that in boiling hot water, and let that boil 7 to 10 minutes, depending on the size. And then you can set that aside and serve it hot with butter and salt. The next is fried squash. Now when you're frying your squash, you want to use self-rising cornmeal mix, salt and pepper, and a little bit of sugar. And that'll enhance the flavor of the vegetable, and it brings out the natural flavors. Just roll after you slice your squash up, just roll that in the cornmeal mix and brown that real good in about a quarter cup of oil, enough till it has enough to fry all the way around the slice. These are country victuals. These are things that my mom taught me from childhood up, and they're just simple techniques, a few little ingredients here and there, and take some garden vegetables and come up with a delicious dinner. Now that is some grilled ribeyes that I put on the grill, and I grilled them about halfway done, and I didn't have enough time to stand out there and grill on the grill all day and to cook inside, so I brought them in and finished them on top of the stove while I was cooking the rest of my meal. I boiled some new potatoes for about 15 minutes, and then I sliced them in half and fried them in butter till they get golden brown. And that is a berry cobbler in the oven. It was blueberries and blackberries. Now the squash, you want to fry it until you get it crisp. You don't put anything on the squash. It's just when you slice it, the natural juices that come out of it is what you use. You don't put anything on it to make it moist. The natural juices of the squash will put out enough water to absorb the amount of cornmeal mix, sugar, and salt and pepper that you need to fry this in. It's absolutely delicious. And it's so simple. It's like falling off a log. If you can fry a slice of bologna, you can fry up some squash. That's all I got to say, and it's absolutely delicious. There's nothing better in my family than a squash, corn on the cob, green beans, new potatoes, sliced cucumbers, vinegar and cucumbers and onions in vinegar, wilted lettuce. This was a delicious dinner. Now the wilted lettuce, you want to take your lettuce and clean it really good and soak it in water if it's got wilty. You know how it'll get dry when you break it and bring it in, but when you soak it in water, it comes right back out to life. That cold water just does something to it. And fry half a pound of bacon and crumble that, set that aside, slice up 10 scallions, set those aside, and then you're going to use the bacon grease that comes off of that bacon to make your wilted lettuce dressing. And then you'll add a little bit of butter, salt and pepper, and equal amounts of vinegar, sugar, and water. Salt and pepper. And it's absolutely delicious. And what you do is you bring your vinegar, sugar, and water to a boil with the bacon grease and butter in there, salt and pepper, and you bring that up to a boil, and as soon as it starts to boil, it's done. You turn it off and set it to the side and let that cool. And then when that cools, you pour that over your lettuce, and it'll wilt that slightly and serve immediately. Now the grilled ribeyes, they're just in butter and mushrooms and 1 cup of water is all I used, and I simmered that for half hour or so with the lid on, just till you get it to the desired tenderness that you like. Now the cucumbers and onions are really simple. You just slice them up, put them in a bowl, and I marinate mine in the refrigerator, and they'll last for up to a week or longer, but they're not going to last in your refrigerator. Every time I make them, I always go in there to get a snack, and they're so delicious. I always end up eating the whole bowl. I love them. Now the berry cobbler is super simple, and I just cut the recipe in half for the topping. It called for 1 cup of flour, milk, and sugar, and I just used a half a cup because we don't like a lot of batter in our berries. We just like a little bit of batter and a lot of berries. And I didn't put any sugar in the berries because the blueberries were already really sweet, and I didn't have very many blackberries. If it would have been predominantly blackberries, I would have put 2 or 3 tablespoons of sugar in there. Now the toast points were just leftover cornbread, about a quarter of a pan of cornbread left over, and I sliced it in slices. Then I sliced those slices down the middle and put them in the oven and broiled them until they were golden brown. Enjoy, y'all! I promise to bring you guys the easiest recipes for Southern cooking and the fastest way that I know to bring them to you. And these are absolutely delicious, restaurant-worthy recipes, you guys. I don't know if you found out you can trust me yet, but when you do, you'll be back. This is Southern cooking made simple, from my ancestors to your table. Y'all come back now. Here. And if you enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Come again.